Hello, hope you're doing well. In this video, we're going to take a look at finding trig of special angles. And so if we're looking at problems like this, we're going to be doing this in what we call finding exact values. Now you look at cosine 45, I bet you're grabbing your calculator and typing in cosine of 45. Go ahead and do that. What you'll notice is it gives you a decimal answer. This right here, find the exact value, that's a code word that means no decimals. And most of the time, what it really means is no calculator. Now, let's take a look. Cosine of 45. How can you find cosine of 45 without doing a calculator? Well, it's easy. You just need to draw a triangle. Okay, you might be thinking, I can do that. I can draw a 45, 45, 90 triangle. But I don't know anything about the triangle. How can I can use this angle, but I don't know. I know cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. I know this is the adjacent side here. I know this is the hypotenuse. But how do I don't know what the adjacent side is. I don't know what the hypotenuse is. Here's the trick. You get to pick. Remember in the last video, I talked about how the ratio is going to be the same regardless of how big or how small the triangle is. So we decide which sides to use. Now, I'm going to go back to this picture. Remember, you learned that the ratio of a right triangle, a 45, 45, 90 triangle, is 1 square root of 2. That's what we're going to do here, is we're just going to use this triangle because the ratios will always be the same. So the adjacent side is 1, the hypotenuse is the square root of 2, and you've got your answer. Now, some people will want you to rationalize that number. I'm okay with it as is, but if you want to rationalize, you multiply by the square root of 2 over the square root of 2. That's going to give you the square root of 2. And the denominator here, this is going to give you the square root of 4. The square root of 4 is 2. So either answer would be fine here. Either one of these. If you put them in your calculator, you'll see they're the exact same decimal. So quick summary for this problem. Exact values means no decimals. Can't round. Typically, like in this case, it means we're going to have to not use a calculator. All right, let's take a look at secant. Secant of 60 degrees. Well, if you think about secant, you remember secant is the reciprocal of what? Hopefully you're thinking cosine. So I need to find cosine, I know, is adjacent over hypotenuse, so secant is hypotenuse over adjacent. All right, so I need a triangle. So let's go ahead and draw a triangle that has a 60-degree angle. I'm going to put the 60-degree angle up here. Somebody told me the adjacent side is always at the bottom. However, that's not true. The adjacent side is always adjacent to the angle. So what side is adjacent to the angle? It's not here. It's here. So that's adjacent. That's hypotenuse. This then is the opposite side. How big should we make these? Well, since it's a ratio, we can pick any side lengths we want. 30, 60, 90 is easy as 1, 2, square root of 3. Remember? Up here. We just have to remember where they go. 1 is the short side, opposite the 30. 2 is the hypotenuse. Square root of 3 is the long leg. So I come down here. Easy as 1, 2, square root of 3. And now we can find the secant of 60. Secant of 60 is hypotenuse over adjacent is 2 over 1 equals 2. All right. Alternative here, if you would have typed in cosine of 60 in your calculator, it would have given you 0.5. Do you remember how to do the reciprocal of a decimal? The reciprocal of 0.5 is 1 over 0.5, which if you type that in a calculator would also give you 2. So you can do this one in your calculator. Number 14, you could not. All right, let's take a look at cotangent of 60. Cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. Remember this 1 over? This just does the reciprocal. All right, so hopefully you're knowing tangent is opposite over adjacent, so cotangent is equal to, I'm going to use an equal symbol here, adjacent over opposite. I'm going to draw my 30, 60, 90 triangle this way. If this is 30, this is 60, 90. We can use any 30, 60, 90, so why not use the easiest one? Do you know what the ratio of the sides will be? Hopefully you're thinking easy as 1, 2, square root of 3. And do you know where the 1, the 2, and the square root of 3 goes? The 1 is opposite the 30. 2 is the hypotenuse. Remember, this is half. And then square root of 3. So now we need to go back and figure out what my angle is, 60. So I'm looking here. This side then is opposite. This side is adjacent. So adjacent is 1, opposite's the square root of 3. And you are finished. If you want, you can rationalize. You multiply by the square root of 3 over the square root of 3. That gives us a square root of 3 over 3. Either of these would be fine. And the last one, tangent of 45. You're probably set to pause the video and try this one on your own. Again, you're going to want to draw a triangle. 45, 45, 90. Easy as 1, 1, square root of 2. Tangent's opposite over adjacent. So that gives us 1 over the square root of 2. I'm fine with that. Again, if you want to rationalize, you can rationalize. That's going to give you the square root of 2 over 2. Either one of those would be fine. So, quick summary. When it says find the exact value, they're wanting us to do this without a calculator. To do that, you're going to have to know your ratios for your 45, 45, 90 and your 30, 60, 90 triangles. Once you do that, you draw yourself the picture, throw in those values, 1, 2, square root of 3, or 1, 1, square root of 2, and then, using your definition, find your ratio. Rationalize if you like. Sounds good?